A lot of incredible things happening with F1 Academy. I just think that the execution and rollout of these things needs a bit of work. Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Girly Pop Go, and today we are talking about F1 Academy. There was a lot of cool things that happened this weekend with F1 Academy, a lot of cool things I got to go to and see, and a lot of cool people I got to meet. I think the way I can summarize my feelings for this whole video is that this is really cool. Why am I just now hearing about it? Or why have I stumbled upon this knowledge myself? Because that's what happened with this. The Las Vegas Grand Prix was this weekend. This video was filmed forever ago. It's currently December 13th as I am filming this bit. F1 Academy is done. F1 is done. Got caught up in my main job of Swell Entertainment and the swellness of it all. So this video is very delayed. So I will have to jump in with a couple of edits here and there because the season is done and Abbi Pulling is our world champion. Next year, really cool announcement. The final race for the F1 Academy season will take place in Las Vegas alongside F1. So according to their website, F1 Academy is finding the next generation of talent on and off track. F1 Academy is here to champion the next generation of female talent to explore their own motorsport journeys. By breaking down barriers to entry on track in the F1 Academy Racing Series and through grassroots initiatives such as F1 Academy Discover Your Drive, we hope to make motorsport more diverse, inclusive, and accessible. As it stands, is in its second year, and it is a all-women racing series from the ages 16 to 25. Yes, I am too old. Yes, I checked. I have been following it for the entirety of this year and a little bit of last year. I found out about it last year actually via Bianca Bustamante. And this year something really cool happened where 10 of the teams are actually using the liveries from F1 teams as well. And then there's also other sponsors like Charlotte Tilbury, the first women-owned company to sponsor an F1 related team, sponsoring Lola Levenfoss's car. We've got Amex with Jess Edgar. We're going to talk about her quite a bit in this video. Drivers are driving Formula 4 cars. Because these cars are smaller, they're actually able to do a lot more dynamic racing than you may see with a lot of these larger F1 cars. And I personally really enjoyed watching them race in Miami, and I'm very excited to see what they do for Vegas next year. I may have to go to Miami again. I have a lot of issues with Miami as a fan. Not the point of this video. The thing that has been happening a lot is that there's been a lot of like, okay, why'd you do that? Or why'd you do it this way type of thing with F1 Academy. One thing that I and other creators and other fans of F1 Academy have been asking for over a year now is merch. For Miami, they actually did a special gifting situation. I believe it was Charlotte Tilbury and I want to say Puma, where they did F1 Academy sneakers. And so a lot of us were really hoping they were going to release those for sale. They did not. Imagine my surprise when I went to Vegas early for the Sonic the Hedgehog Talk golf event that I was invited to, and I decided I was going to go to the Las Vegas F1 hub in the Venetian to check things out. And I am on the phone with my friend trying to find a hat that she wants from the Snoopy collab, and I turn around and I stumble upon a rack full of F1 Academy merch. But you know what they do have? F1 Academy merch, which they never I've literally never seen F1 Academy merch that I can buy like this, so I'm buying quite a bit. This is a cropped sweatshirt, okay, with a hood. There is no big pocket, but it's got a great design on the back. Hold on. They have a white t-shirt that's the same. They had these baseball caps and they had a bucket hat that was in the same colorway with the logo on it. Immediately made a video and everyone was like, wait a minute, why didn't they say it was going to be in the hub? I saw nothing. No promotion, nothing about the merch that was going to be in the hub. We didn't even know there was merch. And at this time, it seems like it's not even available online. I'm hoping that that gets updated soon because a lot of people were not able to go in and get this merch. Something that we knew was going to be in Vegas for F1 Academy was in the fan zone, which was free to access. You just had to reserve a ticket. In the layout for the fan zone in the photo, there was a booth that said F1 Academy when it was like a big square. We're thinking it's a tent, maybe it's an event, maybe a couple of the drivers are going to be there, maybe some information about F1 Academy. A bunch of us, my friends and I, we all go to the F1 Academy Female Quotient event. Now, Female Quotient is a company that does a lot of activations and events supporting women in business, supporting diversity. It sponsored Nina Gaidman, another one of the wildcard entries this year. I am a fan of Nina, so I was very excited when she was announced to be one of the wildcards. I've been following her for a while, so I was very excited. Nina is going to be a part of the F1 Academy 2025 grid driving for Alpine. When Female Quotient announced they were doing like a little lounge setup with F1 Academy, we were like, oh, absolutely, let's gonna go. I got to talk to a lot of different drivers. They introduced the new driver for Tommy Hilfiger for next year for F1 Academy, which is Alba.
Tommy's new F1 Academy driver for 2025. Welcome, Alba.
She did the panel with Susie Wolff, Naomi Schiff, and Tommy Hilfiger himself, talking about the importance of partnerships for F1 Academy and also for diversity in sports and trying to add more inclusivity in sports. Nothing happens in the sport without money. We have to have these partners and these sponsorships to come in to help make these things happen. And so it's great that we all came out to come and see this, because that shows that yes, there is a need and a desire for this. Ended up opening up the questions. And I asked a question and Susie liked my question. I don't have it on camera of me asking the actual question because I was like, oh, question? Basically, I asked if she could talk, or any of them could talk a little bit more about their Discover Your Drive program and how they are planning to work more partnerships in with it, and along with F1 Academy with Discover Your Drive. And Susie was like, I'm so glad you brought up Discover Your Drive, because they hadn't brought it up yet in this talk.
Umbrella for everything we're doing for the next generation to try and get more women into the sport. Just as much focus is on off track as on track. We don't exist just to find the next female Formula One driver. We want to open up all the different areas of the sport. And with Discover Your Drive, we are obviously making a lot of progress in trying to create opportunity. But it's an area that will come much more into focus next season as we start to gain momentum and start to gain all the different avenues into the sport where we can just create the chance for the door to be open for the most talented to rise. And what Albert touched upon before, we simply are working against a numbers game. There's not enough women entering the sport, off track, on track, for the best rise to the top. So if we can inspire the next generation and get more young women entering the sport, we have a much higher chance that the best will rise to the top. And I think a big part of that is creating these positive role models. And if you see that young 16-year-old girl jumping in a Tommy Hilfiger car, which looks like a miniature Formula One car, it's an incredibly powerful image for the next generation, racing alongside Formula One on the Grand Prix weekend. And that's the perception that we're trying to challenge. And Discover Your Drive is a huge part of us bringing that to life and creating all of those opportunities.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
It's like, exactly, we really need some role models, because when I started, I didn't really know anything about motorsport, and I didn't have any role models. So I think the whole F1 Academy and myself, I really want to become a role model for all these young girls. And I think F1 Academy and this collaboration really inspires a lot of girls.
Very cool initiative, because the reality is because of ages, because of timing and everything, the current state of F1 Academy, these are the girls that are most likely going to be the ones before the girls that are in F1 Academy that make it to Formula One, possibly. That is a difficult stage to be in, but it is the reality of the situation potentially. And so programs like Discover Your Drive, supporting not even just this group for F1 Academy, but the younger girls that are even just trying to figure out, like, okay, do I want to do this? That is a really great initiative. And I was like, please talk more about this. This is also where I found out that at the Fan Zone, the F1 Academy booth is not a booth. They are doing show runs. That was news to all of us. And Susie's like, yeah, you know about this. Like, the way she talked about it was like, yeah, you know about this. Talked to a lot of really incredible women at this lounge. So thank you to Female Quotient for hosting us, and to F1 Academy for doing this, because I do think this was a very good event. They had several different talks, but then even then as well, they talked with, I literally screenshotted every single slide that had everyone's names on it so that I wouldn't forget, because I'm so bad with names. Hold on. Emily Prazer, Chief Commercial Officer for Formula One, is the person who said this. They just announced the new Lego series where every single F1 team is going to be represented in a Lego, coming in, I believe, January. But then there's another smaller little baby car series, okay, that is also being released and is available May 1st. It's like how we included F1 Academy in the Lego launch. And we're all like, huh? What do you mean it's included in We didn't know that. So my Fan Zone ticket was for Saturday, okay? And so I go in and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna make some content, whatever, find everything. I go up to the Lego booth. I went and looked at all of the F1 cars they had, and that is where I saw all of the little mini cars, the F1 Academy car, part of the little builder sets. These are going to be $3.99 a piece. They are available in May. A post about we are going to be included in the F1 drop. That would be really, really cool. But also I'm picturing like literally every single new driver for the grid getting like a little like box or a goodie box, like welcome to the grid. And inside is like a little hat. Okay. And then a little Lego. I think that'd be really, really cute. So then I walk through the Fan Zone, and that's where I find in the very back the F1 Academy section. It is not a booth. It is a bunch of barriers with F1 Academy on it. There's no schedule posted right there. There is schedules around, okay? But even then, the schedules just say, for the fan zone, it just says F1 Academy. It does not say F1 Academy show runs. It does not say Jess Edgar. It doesn't do anything like that. And so I stand there and I'm waiting. I'm expecting someone to come out and make an announcement, talk to the crowd about what F1 Academy is, anything like that. Instead, what happens is I hear the engine and Jess comes out in the Amex car. Drives back, parks, and walks up to the gate. It's Jess Edgar. Woo! Hi. I have a question, actually. So, are you one of the drivers that races in other series as well?
No, I just do F1.
Just F1 Academy. Yeah. But you've done other series before? Or is this your first series?
I did GB4 before I did F1 Academy. That was my first show in Paris.
Okay, great. How has it been to adapt from that to the F1 Academy cars? Because they're the equivalent of Formula 4 cars, right? Yeah.
What I did was like, it was F4, but it was like the...
No one goes, hey everyone, this is Jess Edgar driving the Amex car for F1 Academy. She's going to come up and take some photos with you. They just have her park, take off the helmet, set it down, and then walk up to the gate. So I'm me. So I immediately walk up and I'm like, hi, can I ask you some questions? And we start talking a little bit. My camera did run out of space at this point, so it did cut off halfway through our conversation, but we did talk for a little bit. So I don't think it's just because I said something first, but a lot of times people were like, are we allowed to talk to this person type of things. So me going up to the barrier and just being like, hey, let's talk for a second. Other people were like, oh, she get a photo with you, to their daughters, their sons. A lot of people came up and talked with her, which was great. Like, she can be, oh, I'm Jess, but no one there is saying, oh yes, this is Jess Edgar. No one is there to talk about F1 Academy. No one is saying Jess will be racing in Qatar this next week. No one is doing that. And so I started doing that. Everyone, this is Jess Edgar. And she's racing in Qatar next weekend alongside F1 and F1 Academy. Woo! Yes. Hi. Sorry. What ended up happening, I went over to the end and there was someone from F1 Academy there and someone from F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix, their gear there. And I was like, hi, sorry, I have a question. And the person from F1 Las Vegas came over. I was like, is anyone going to make an announcement for Jess? Oh no, it's just the show runs. But like, we will be going over to the stage after this to do a driver's talk with some of the drivers. That's where we're going next. Are going to be taking all the F1 Academy drivers that are here over to the stage next to do speeches and talks there. So that's the driver interview that they're doing. So I'm gonna head over there now. And apparently these speakers are only for emergency broadcasts. Thing is that on the schedule, it just said driver interviews. It did not say F1 Academy driver interviews. So a lot of people around me, when Bianca and Jess came out, were not thrilled. And then Lola came out as well. She had gotten stuck in traffic, but Lola Levenfoss also came out as well. This is one of those things as well where, like, I fully think all you needed to do is utilize creators. I know that F1 Academy did utilize creators for Miami. There was a handful of creators, I believe, that were given F1 Academy paddock passes. Now the paddock was open to the public. They did not get on track passes or anything like that. To just be given access to these drivers while they had time to make content and things like that, I think is very valuable. I literally would have sat there with a table that said, ask me about F1 Academy, with a sign. I think someone needed to be there sitting there talking about F1 Academy when Jess was not doing the show runs. Because when the crowd started forming around the show runs, of course there's a car going. People hear a car, they walk up. But then even then, I also feel like I deserve a gold star for not decking the man that I heard, oh, there's a woman in the car, let's take a step back from the barrier. I was explaining to people like, oh yeah, Amex is sponsoring Jess's car for F1 Academy, because there were people that thought that Amex was just on the car because we were next to an Amex booth, because not everyone knows about F1 Academy. And I think this would have been a really great time to talk more about F1 Academy. A little sheet that just said like, this is Jess Edgar racing in the Amex car with F1 Academy. See her next in Qatar and Abu Dhabi racing alongside F1 Academy on YouTube. Like, anything like that. Got to talk with Jess quite a bit as well. I got to go and watch her speak with Bianca and Lola as well. I talked with some people who were fans of hers and were fans of the series, but they were like, we didn't even know that this was them that was coming up on the stage until you just told us. So it's not fair to fans to do that, but also it's not fair to these drivers to like set them up to have people walking away. That doesn't feel good when you're on the stage. They can see that. They can see the crowd shrinking.
Bianca's got her phone out. Explain the F1 Academy. Why don't we start with you, Bianca? Go ahead.
So it was an initiative that was brought into Formula One and the ladder 2 years ago. It was initially to bring opportunities for young girls like myself and Jess to get a chance and opportunity to race in Formula 4 without having to worry about the difficulties of getting financial backing. As we all know, racing is very expensive. It's an all-female series racing in a Formula 4 spec car, and this year was our first year racing alongside Formula 1, so that obviously gave us a huge platform to share our passion with the rest of the world and to hopefully inspire the next generation, and as well as feed us into the upper ladder of the single-seater series.
Been with us all day yesterday and again today doing the demos. How exciting has that been for you to be with us these last 2 days?
Yeah, it's been really exciting to show you all what we do when we're racing, and so you can get up close to the car. And it's a bit tighter than what we usually race. We usually race on like the big circuits like this with F1. So yeah, it's been good to show you all what we do.
Also, this announcer did not realize that all of the drivers on the stage would be leaving F1 Academy after this year. Bianca, Jess, and Lola are all at their 2-year limit, so they have to move on to other things. This interviewer did not know that none of these drivers were going to be back next year, and therefore did not know that they would not be racing in the finale for Vegas next year. It's like, oh, how excited are you to race in Vegas next year? And they're like, oh, we won't be. And Bianca's very charming. She's very good on stage. So she's like, oh, well, unfortunately, Jess and I won't be here. And then Lola wasn't on stage at the time, but like, it's like, oh, he kept calling himself Short King because someone called him a Short King. And I don't know what was going on there. That was really weird. Then there was also this moment at the end. He was like, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you inside the car?
Inside? I'm having a mental block. I'm normally like prepared for answers, but the craziest thing, I can't think of one. I honestly can't. I'll let Lola go first, and I'll come to...
The clouds just came out again.
Cars,
See what
yeah,
happened?
sorry,
You ruined it. Jess, what about you? Craziest thing that happened in a car?
I don't have an answer.
No answers. Listen, first time ever Short King's thrown anybody for a loop. You have a great story. You were ready. Let's go. What is it?
Actually, Bianca was there too. 2 years ago, we went racing in India for a very special championship prototype. And there was like, we were racing under the rain. It was raining a lot, and I crashed with another car. I went out, and there was a snake in my cockpit, inside of the cockpit.
That is a crazy story. That's a weird question, though. Jess did her last show run. I go up and get a clip with Jess because I didn't get one of both of us, so we did that.
So how was it? Fun? Did it get easier or like more tedious the more you do it throughout the day?
I feel like I started to go a bit faster throughout the day.
Yeah.
A bit more.
Nice. Yeah, for walk-ups that time around. Do you feel it like when you're in the car? Is it just like...
Kind of feel it.
Yeah? Yeah.
As the crowd was dissipating, my friends were rushing, trying to come meet her because, again, they didn't know there was going to be show runs and they were trying to get over there to talk with her. And so I was like, I'm so sorry. My friends are rushing over. Do you mind just waiting like another second? And she was like, yeah, sure. So her and I ended up talking for quite a bit. And I was talking about like, oh, is there any like next steps, any next plans? And she's like, I think Susie's working on something, but I'm not sure. We asked if Amex was helping at all because she is in the Amex car. And she's like, I haven't talked to them yet, but like it is a lot of money. So for F3, it's millions and millions of dollars for a seat. Did you enjoy doing like the interview? Like, how was that? She was like, I'm really not good at that part. I'm not a big fan of that part. And, you know, then we talked about the show because they are filming a documentary on F1 Academy this year. And she was like, they're obviously filming more of the girls that are good at that stuff. So I don't know how much I will be in, but I also think that it's going to be really good for like the next girls that come through versus that it'll be good for me type of thing. To have that mentality when you're 20 years old, incredible mindset to have, and also just so mature to have, honestly, because like, yes, this is her whole life and she doesn't know what's happening next, but she's still thinking like, yeah, I don't like doing this, but like this is for the next group. Then even then it's like, okay, you have someone who is telling you, or at least telling me, someone that she just met, that she doesn't like this part that much. There are ways to make it more comfortable for her, or at least set her up for success as best as possible. Someone walking up with her, or before she gets to the gate with the car, like in this instance, and being like, hey everyone, this is Jess Edgar. She is racing in our Amex car for F1 Academy. She's going to be racing this next weekend, but she would love to come and talk with you. Would anyone like a photo with her? Would anyone like to come and talk with her? Just so she's not walking up to the gate alone, because I'm telling you, every time she would take the helmet off, and she would do it, but you could tell she wasn't having the best time doing it, you know, and that's fine. Not everyone is a social butterfly. There are ways to make it so that it's not as daunting for people and these drivers and these athletes. A couple of conversations and a little bit of coaching for this would be much better on camera and have a much better time. The media and stuff would go a lot further, which also, side note, why don't you have a TikTok? F1 Academy is the same way as F1, I assume, where it's the group project from hell. All these drivers are with individual teams. Some of these drivers have teams associated with the F1 team. So like Bianca has McLaren and things like that. She did talk about how McLaren got her a sports psychologist to deal with some of the pressure of being in the car and everything, which I do think is incredible. That's really great. But why is F1 Academy not doing that? But you know, I appreciate McLaren doing it. That's great. That's a start. That's awesome. You also have these drivers' individual teams, and then probably their sponsor teams and obligations for that. A microphone, a portable speaker. I would have yelled, okay, a megaphone. Hello, race fans. Who knows about F1 Academy? If no one raises their hands, amazing. Now I get to tell you all about F1 Academy. So right now we have Jess Edgar coming out. A little bit about Jess. A little bit about who she is, her racing history. A little bit about Amex's involvement with F1 Academy. Okay, maybe a little statement from Amex. A little like how important it is to support women in motorsport. That would be really nice, really classy. Jess is going to come out and do some show runs for you guys. You guys excited? Yeah, yelling. She's going to show off this car and show you what this car can do. Obviously, we have a little bit of space here, so there's not going to be any flips or jumps, but you get to see this car up close and personal. And even better, at the end, Jess is going to bring this car up to this barrier, and you guys get to meet Jess. And also, don't forget that you can catch Jess this weekend racing alongside the rest of the F1 Academy grid in Qatar, alongside Formula One. Watch it included in your F1 TV package or for free on YouTube or Twitter. Woo! Yelling, cheering, everyone's so excited, and everyone now knows who is in the Amex car. Something as simple as someone who is an interview that just works with these drivers to make content specifically about the races. You guys had photographers around, but even just doing like little sessions about like just whether it was doing interviews like this, like someone coming up and asking questions. Let's say Jess is like, actually, I don't want to go up to the barrier and meet people. I don't want to answer questions like that. I just want to do photos and then I want to walk away. Let's say she wanted to do that. Then having someone who could walk up and be like, hey, does anyone have any questions for Jess? We're going to do a little mini interview here or something like that. And then someone gets interview questions, writes them down, sorts through the ones that are crazy and the ones that are not. And then we get to do an on the spot little interview with her. And then she gets to go and do photos. One of the things that I just think would be really great moving forward, especially if you're looking about like, hey, we're getting more attention, we're getting more money, whatever. We have the more hiring power and things like that. I just think that something that would be one job that I think would be great is someone whose job it is to just talk with these drivers. The last thing I want is for F1 Academy to just start picking drivers based off who's good on camera. Doing these interviews in this way, or having someone who is just like, hey, we're just going to do these little interviews here and there, you know, because they're doing the docu-series, but even just little interviews here and there for the race weekend so that it's not all put onto these drivers' teams or put onto these drivers directly, I just think would be very helpful for a lot of drivers. And then you have way more content of all these drivers as well. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of plans for the next season as well. Obviously, I can go to at least 2 of those races next year. I'm going to like 5 different races for F1 next year. And of course, F1 Academy is only going to be at like one of them. So now I have to go to Miami. I have to add that in so that I can go to another F1 Academy race. There's so much good here, and I really want this series to do well, and I want these drivers to succeed. And I just feel like there's ways that these drivers can be supported in ways outside of just in the car, especially if you're going to keep having them do like activations like this. Obviously, at the end of the day, the best thing that I can do is tell you about F1 Academy and get you to watch F1 Academy. I should note also for the show runs as well, like on the F1 Academy Instagram, like they were like, yeah, and Jess Edgar is doing show runs all weekend. It's like, that's cool. I had to check your Instagram for that. I am here. And I didn't know that until it was upon me. Thank you to Jess. You were very sweet. Thank you for answering our questions. I hope Jess gets a seat. I'm excited to see what happens with F1 Academy next year. I'm excited that they're going to be ending here in the US. There's some shuffling in the grid. There's a lot of new drivers, a lot of younger drivers, a lot of drivers that appear to be, you know, also not super comfortable on camera just yet. I don't really know how to end this other than like, I really want F1 Academy to do well. And there's certain things where I'm just like, I'm confused by some of the rollouts. Like, how come there wasn't anything about the merch? I think still on their Instagram, there's nothing about the merch. I have a lot of footage, so I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but thank you for sticking around. Be sure to subscribe for more Girly Pop Go, and that's it. Goodbye.